Greetings and welcome to Community Centered, where we talk about what community is, why community matters, why you matter to community, and most importantly, how to start cultivating it wherever you are right now. I'm Ellie Whittekins, and today we're going to dive into how to start your community from scratch. I've been on a journey the last 3.5 years, discovering my community, meeting new people, and changing my life. What I want to do today is give anyone who is lonely, who wants to be connected but has no idea where to start, some steps so they can begin their journey. I've obviously learned a lot over the past few years, and this is advice I would give a friend or that I would follow if I suddenly moved and no longer had the community I have now. With that being said, please grab a piece of paper and a pen, and let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is brainstorm what we would want our lives to look like. We all have a boss version of ourselves that lives inside our heads that has skills that we don't have. So picture that person and ask yourself, what would I need to do to become that person? You're looking for all the little things that make up the distance between who you are now and that person you would like to be. Right now, you are just dreaming, so don't limit yourself. We're going to examine the list in a moment, but for now, just dream. Maybe you'd like to improve yourself physically, become a bodybuilder or a marathon runner. Write it down. Maybe the boss version of yourself is really adventurous and they ski and hike and surf and all of that kind of stuff. Write it down. There's also maybe playing athletics, sports, hockey, golf, disc golf, football, volleyball. You could want to play a musical instrument. You could want to help out more in the community. You could want to go to church, be more well read. Maybe the boss version of yourself is a better speaker than you are. Maybe they can debate. Maybe they create things by baking, wood turning, painting, pottery, welding, whatever it is, write it down. Maybe the boss version of you is a great host and they're constantly having friends over for dinners or barbecues. Whatever it is, write it down. Write it all down. Now that you've taken a picture of what you want your life to look like and divided it into these little pieces, go back through and see if there's a social way to achieve this. What you're ultimately looking for is an open social group, a group that is open so people who do not know each other can come and go. An example of this would be an exercise class because it's a big group of people who have probably never met before, versus a closed group, which would be a group of established friends that meet up at the gym to work out together. You don't want that because you're not meeting anyone new. And if you're starting from 0 friends, then that's not even an option. So look for possible ways to achieve the items on your list, specifically open group ways. If you're interested in getting in shape, that's going to be Zumba classes, kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, whatever you're interested, write it down and you can write down more than one. If you're looking at adventurous things, there's hiking groups. If you're looking at creative things, there's sewing classes, knitting groups, pottery classes, welding classes. If you wanted to get more involved with the community, you're looking at your volunteer opportunities, your VFWs, Rotary clubs, historical societies. If you want to get better at hosting, maybe you could get better at cooking and take a cooking class. Whatever it is, do a little brainstorming and try and figure out if there are some open groups that you could join that would help you on your way to becoming this person. At this point, you can pare your list down. If there's anything that you had on there that you can't achieve through a social group, go ahead and take it off. We're just going to look at the various groups that you could join. And you want about 10. It's fine if you have more, as long as it's not an overwhelming amount. Now you're going to take those 10 items and organize them from the ones you're most interested in to the ones you're least interested in. So most interested would be 1, least interested would be 10 or whatever number it is if you had more than 10. I like to do this by kind of looking at the list, and usually a few pop out at you and you just kind of like go back and forth. Okay, if I could only do this one thing this year, would I be disappointed if I didn't do this other thing? And just kind of compare them, 2 at a time to see what one kind of stands out of like, yeah, that seems to be the leader. And just reorganize your list. All right, now that you've assigned all of your items a number 1 through 10 of what you're most to least interested in doing, we're going to assign them one more number. We're going to organize them from the easiest entry threshold to the highest entry threshold, meaning how much do you really have to put in to be a part of this activity. You're going to look at money, you're going to look at travel time, and you're going to look at how much time you have to spend outside of the actual meeting and activity to be a part of it. So, an example of my lowest entry threshold item that I joined was my knitting club. So, I had been knitting for a decade when I joined the knitting club. So, I already had all the needles and yarn, and I always have a project on the needles. So, there's nothing I really need to do to get ready for it. There was nothing I needed to do to join. In addition to that, the club meets 15 minutes from my house, and all it costs me is a cup of tea at the coffee shop we meet at. By contrast, my highest entry threshold would be my book club. My book club is an hour away. We meet at a restaurant, so we buy dinner, and I have to actually get a book, whether that's from the library or purchasing it, and read it before book club. So there's a lot more involved to just being in that group. Now each activity should have two numbers written next to it. What you're going to do is add those two numbers together and divide by 2 to get the average. And from there, you're going to look for your top 3. The lowest scoring items are going to be your top 3 picks, and you're going to pick one of those 3 to get started with. You're going to look on meetup apps, at city resources, Google it, find something in your local area for that activity. If you can't find it for your first pick, go ahead and move on to your second choice. Just find the activity that you're going to focus on first. This step is simple but not always easy. Just go do it. Go join. You have a location and a time. Just go do it. It's not going to get done if you aren't the one to do it. Once you've joined your first group, give yourself time. You get 3 to 6 months of just showing up to this first group every single meeting. There's no pressure to do more or to check items off a list. You are just implementing, showing up to this group, and getting to know the people there. After your 3 to 6 month waiting period is up, go ahead and start looking into your second choice and begin adding it to your schedule. Notice that I said adding it because you're going to continue going to the first group every single meeting too. The goal is to have 3 social things a week. So keep repeating steps 7 and 8 until that is true. Keep in mind this will take time to build. It's okay if you don't make friends right away. Right now, we are building community, and that actually starts with acquaintances. I know right now it might seem like you need something really big, like a best friend, that inner circle that really gets you because you are so lonely. I get it, I've been there. But that's a very big leap to make all at once. And I don't know a way to pick a random person, a stranger from the population, that would be that inner circle best friend for you. Those people are acquaintances first. There's no cheat code. So we're building an acquaintance pool. And it does help. Having people I saw regularly once a week helped improve my mood and slowly eliminated my loneliness because they're people open to having a chat. They know my name. They say, hey, how's it going? How's work? How's your family? And having these activities helped keep my mood from dipping so low in between them. And slowly, I got to know them better, and I no longer have loneliness eating away at me. If that sounds like an improvement to you, then you know how to get started now. I hope this has given you the tools and guidance you need to get started. Do you have any ideas for groups people can join? Leave them in the comments below, and join me here next time for further discussion on how to build your community here and now.